Where'd that thing go? What thing? Your time. Welcome to Simplified Sparky Marketing. Something that's so underappreciated with electricians is your time, your own personal time. Something I've said before, and I'll keep saying it, is you can never get your time back, but you can always make more money. And there's never a truer saying. And I think it's very important that you acknowledge that your billable hours during the day are quite minimal. My billable hours for my electrical business are approximately 5 to 6 hours during the day permitting. I usually have, depending on the job size, two jobs a day, which would be half the day each, in around that. Or else I might have like a full day job, or I might have 3 jobs. 3 jobs would probably be max. If it's a 4-job day, there's a lot of ducking and diving, and that's probably more to the point of what your billable hours actually are. Now, when I say that, I think it depends on, as I said, what industry you're in or what sector you're in. If you're doing builder work and stuff like that, you're most likely going to have you or your staff members busy for 8 hours a day. Whereas when you're doing service work, realistic billable hours are going to be approximately 5 to 6, because you throw a break into that as well. They're on the road, they're in between jobs, they're ducking to the suppliers. They've still got to get their wage at the end of the week. It's not as if their wage stops while they're on the road or they go for a break or whatnot, permitting on how your company is set up. It's something that it's underappreciated, the amount of wasted time that people have in the day. They think that their hourly rate should be set at a lower rate. But what actually happens is when you calculate the hours you're going to work in the year, and that's given that you're going to take 10 sick days, you're going to take your 4 weeks annual leave, you've got 10 to 11 public holidays in New South Wales. The realistic days left in the year are 200 odd. And when you multiply that 200 odd by 5 hours, I believe, will give you the total hours that you'll work in the year. Then when you know what you want to earn in the year, your overheads and all that, you divide it up and it gives you your hourly rate. I've got a little GPT bot for this for my members. There's a little plug. When you know your hourly rate, you then are confident with your pricing. So it's a knock-on effect. And you realize that, I only work 5 hours a day. So I charge this much. And it's like, I now know that I have to charge this much to earn that much. And it's a big psychological thing as well, of when you get confident with your pricing, it becomes very easy to quote and sell as well, because you can deliver that with sheer confidence. Because if you're just going in with your head in the sand going, I don't know, $50 an hour, and you don't know the price of something, you're muttering over something, and you get that delivered to the client, they're just like, he sounds like he made that up, or he's not confident. I don't think I'm going to go ahead with this guy. Whereas if you go in there and you deliver your quotes confidently, be it online or offline, to the client, they can read you and they're like, he delivered that confidently, that must be the price. So there's a big knock-on effect of that. Where does your time get sucked elsewhere with business? Driving to and from jobs, quoting work, picking up materials. You take a trip to the supplier, you bump into another Sparky there, you give 20 minutes talking to him. Then you go into the supplier, you meet the manager in there. He's a man of leisure. So you're having a half an hour chat with him when you're like, fuck, I better get back on the road. There's an hour of your day just gone instantly that's not billable anymore. And if you've got staff as well, there's going to be stuff like going back to jobs, fixing mistakes. All of this is not billable. So to reiterate the problem, companies and individual business owners have this fantasy la land of, I'll work 8 to 10 hours a day. I'll be flat out. I'm charging 110 or 120 an hour and it's decent. But in service work, the reality is 4 to 6 hours. Some days it could even be 3 or 4, just permitting what's going on. If you've got to look at other jobs you're going to quote and they might be opposite ends of the city or the area, you might have to go to the suppliers. You might have one little job, when I say little, 3-hour job in the middle of the day in the middle of that. And that's the only hours that you can literally invoice for. Some people go down the pathway then of thinking, I'll just work longer hours to make my money. And that's what happens to a lot of people. Maybe even happening to you listening to this podcast, of you're not making enough money. So you slog it out. You do longer hours. You're working past 4, 5, 6 p.m. and you're starting at 6 a.m. It's not on. It's not the right thing to do. And if you're one of those people as well that thinks, well, somebody won't pay that money. It's like, people do pay the money, but there's a lot of little 1%ers you need to put in place before you do actually start earning correct money. I have a podcast back along and it's called You Look Professional, You Get Paid Professional. Have a listen to it, but it's all those little 1%ers of where your money is actually made. Because your hourly rate is realistically going to be based off 5 or 6 hours per day. I mean, you're not inside in a factory, you're not doing 10 hours in that factory. You're driving, you're diagnosing, you're explaining, you're invoicing, you're collecting payment. All those little things suck your time. And realistically, it ends up, if you're doing 5 hours per day over 5 days in the week, that is only 25 hours. So as a little challenge, redo your hourly rate, just work it off 25 hours per week, and being very generous, multiplying that by 46 weeks, which is false, because if you've got a staff member, they're fully entitled to take that entire time off of like their 10 sick days, the 4 weeks off, the 10 to 11 public holidays that appear. They've got to be paid for that. So the thing is, people start with a lower hourly rate to drum up all this work. And then what happens is they need a staff member, they hire a staff member, and they scale chaos because they haven't got their hourly rate set in from the get-go. My 2 cents is that you get your fucking ship in order. You know you're making a lot of profit. You know what to charge. And then it's the case of, okay, cool, now I can plug in a staff member because I know I'm not going to hemorrhage cash or scale chaos. The end goal of what you want to achieve here is not having to work long hours and not having to work Saturdays. And I am guilty of this as well, is someone will want the job done, the schedule will be quite packed, and I'll see Saturday is open and I'll go, what's a few hours on a Saturday? I'll do it Saturday morning. I'll only do that if I know I'm going to work 3 hours and make $1,500. That's the kind of way I roll, is like, I'm not going in there slogging it, ruining my weekend just so I can just make a base wage. That isn't the goal. And I choose not to work Saturdays, and I enjoy having Saturdays off. That's, your weekend should be for you, your family, your friends. Fucking spend it with your dog for all I know. But it should be your time. It shouldn't be sucked into the business. And we all start business to make more money and make more time, but business can suck us back into it. And that is my lesson from this podcast, is have a look at your hourly rate, respect your time. Your time, as I said, you can't get it back. You can make more money, but you can't get it back. So again, a very quick thing to finish on is, if you're charging $100 per hour, say, and you work 40 hours a week, and let's just say you did whatever, it was $4,000, you now up your hourly rate to $200 an hour. You only have to work 20 hours in that week to recoup that money that you were working. So that's 2.5 days versus 5 days. Just have a think about it. If you need me, all the links to find me or more content on YouTube, etc., is linked underneath.